Welcome to the Geek Horror Podcast. I am Damana, Eater of Blood, and I am joined by Golgoroth, Eater of Worlds. Tell me, Golgoroth, on a scale of just a few drops to completely drenched in blood, how excited are you to be kicking off a month of horror?
Golgoroth is rather happy to be here today to talk about horror and all that.
That was great.
That was good.
I can't keep the straight face. Oh my god. I didn't know if you would play along because I know your throat's been messing up, but
anything for the podcast and our beautiful listeners.
Yes. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Just to clear things up, this is the Geek Heart Games podcast, but for the month of October, we're going to be celebrating horror because we love it so much. So we're going to have various things that we're focusing on throughout the month. We're going to be playing a lot of horror games just to have some fun stuff to share with you. And most importantly, that's not the most important thing, but a fun thing to get out there, you guys. On Friday, October 19th, we're going to have a community game night where we're playing Dead by Daylight. So this was a free PS Plus game just last month or the month before. I think it was August maybe. Hopefully you guys claimed your free game. And if so, you should come play with us because we need to get a group together and just, murder each other like you do. So
yeah, for fun.
Yeah, just for funsies. It's no big deal. That's what friends do. They kill each other all the time. Excuse me, I'm so tricked up. Cody, do you want to tell us about what else is coming after October?
So in November, we're doing something great for charity. I'm also getting choked up apparently, but I'm going to keep going.
Oh my god, we got some throat issues.
Yeah, throat issues.
We should not do those deep voices.
Nope. So in November, specifically November 2nd and 3rd, around then, we're going to be participating in Extra Life. So what Extra Life is it is a charity program where you play video games and stream it, or just play video games in general, and you have a donation set up to go to your local children's hospital. We have a team that we've organized of, a couple different podcast people. We got Melissa Megan from Talking Comics and the Sirens of Scream. I didn't mess it up? Okay, good.
Yeah, that was great.
I feel paranoid. We have Jessica and Katie, correct?
Mm-hmm.
From Bitch Team Alpha.
And it's possible they'll have more people with them as well. You never know who's going to show up for them. So, but yeah, yep.
And then we have Megs from the No Undies on Sundays podcast. We don't wear underwear on Sunday, apparently.
I was going to throw this out there. I feel like we should do like a live podcast recording during Extra Life that is the No Undies Sundays podcast. I mean, just because why not? I don't know what we would talk about. Because
not wearing underwear.
That would get real weird pretty quick.
Probably not safe for Twitch. Their rules.
Yeah, but I mean, we could figure something out. It'd probably be towards the end of Meg's stream because I think she's planning to go for 24 hours again. So she'll probably be pretty loopy by that time. So that could be pretty entertaining. I don't know. It's just an idea. It might not happen.
Just an idea.
Something out there.
So we form the podcast Posse is our team name.
Yep.
Sam has created a helpful link where you can go to geekheartgames.com/extralife, correct?
Yep.
If you go there, it'll bring you straight to the podcast Posse page. You can donate to anybody. Doesn't have to be me. Doesn't have to be Sam. It could be Melissa. It could be Megs. It could be any of the Bitch Team Alpha girls. No matter what, you're donating to help sick children in children's hospitals, and we greatly appreciate anything you do. We here at Geek Heart Games are all about giving back to the community and, helping people where we can. I've done Extra Life the past 2 years. Sam, you did it last year. You
Sam
contributed
donated
last year
and
to
Sam
people.
played with some people. Sam hasn't done it before. So
I've done Extra Life the past 2 years, and it's been amazing. Each time my goals have gone higher and higher, and I'm looking forward to this year. This will be the first year we do it under the Geek Heart Games and the Podcast Posse banner, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah. Excuse me. Oh my god, seriously, your voice is like so weird right now. But
yeah, a little bit.
I
but,
feel like I
we're
really
making it through.
shouldn't have called out the Golgoroth. I think it was a bad idea. Hopefully you'll last for the rest of the podcast. Oh, and just one other thing I was going to mention. Speaking of Melissa Megan and Sirens of Scream, either just before now or right after, they're going to be releasing their 31 Days of Horror podcast. And so they've done that before where it's been just movies, and they've had some really good recommendations. This year, I believe they're opening it up and having all different medium of horror. So there might be like books, comics, different stuff. So that'll be something really cool you might want to check out if you're looking for some good scares. But we have had some good scares recently, Cody, not related to games. So real briefly, I just wanted to talk about this book I read. Now, I feel like horror books sometimes are like really hard to find a good one, because it's just hard for a writer to capture like that feeling of dread and just like make you feel it as a reader. But I read this book called What We Kill, and the summary had been something like there were these 4 teenagers who wake up in the middle of the woods one morning, and one of them is just completely drenched in blood. One of them is missing his glass eye. One of them, a girl, is missing her pants. And the 4th guy just has this triangle branded into his arm. And none of them remember how they got there or what happened to them. And so the book is them trying to figure out what happened to get them in that situation. At the same time, there's this weird other stuff happening in town that is unraveling. And it was just a really good read. It starts with a mystery, and it kind of reveals just enough in just the right timeline to keep you engaged and really interested in what's going on. There is like some pretty disturbing stuff in it, so if you're sensitive to that, maybe not for you. But otherwise, I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was a great suspenseful read, so I recommend it. It's called What We Kill. If I had done good homework, I would have looked up who the author was, but I didn't. So, Cody, why don't you tell us about some movies that you've been watching while I look up who that author is?
Okay. So I went and saw The Nun. It's the newest movie from the Conjuring universe. It's been a while since I've seen The Conjuring or Conjuring 2.
Yeah.
And I've only seen one of the Annabelle movies. So I was like, okay, let's go see The Nun. I've heard good things about it. I thought it was a really, like, it doesn't bog you down with, like, having to know everything about the Conjuring universe. It's very straightforward. It gets you into, like, where the demon, his name is Valak, he shows up in Conjuring 2. It's just a simple story where they're telling you where this demon came from. Some really good scares in there. I'm not gonna go like too deep into it just because it is still in theaters. So if you want to go see it, I definitely recommend it. It's worth the money. I don't know, like I'm not a very religious person, so like anything revolving around horror and religion was very interesting to me because like it's just something that I'm not a part of. So it's a new thing for me. I will say I don't know. It felt very short. Like we were like sitting there, and like I was like, oh, I wonder how much time is left, because I knew it was like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Like I pulled up the phone. I was like, oh, we have 20 minutes left. Oh, how are they wrapping this up? Okay. But it does a good job of wrapping it up, and I liked it a lot. It was definitely worth it. The popcorn they gave us sucked. I wasn't very happy about the popcorn.
That's too bad.
I'm a popcorn guy. I like eating popcorn while I watch a movie.
Not for me. But I think it's good that it's a short movie, because like you don't want a horror movie to be too long where it's just like dragging on. You want stuff happening to keep your attention the whole time. Like I think that's good.
So who was the author of the book?
The author is Howard Odentz. That's Odentz, and the book is called What We Kill. So I recommend it.
Okay.
All right.
And the other movie that I can kind of highly more recommend, it's called The Terrifier. Now there is a short called Terrifier, and this is called Terrifier, from what I understand.
Okay.
So it features a villain named Art the Clown, and Art the Clown showed up in another movie called All Hallows Eve. Now it's not the Disney movie; it's a horror movie. So you kind of gotta find the difference there.
Okay.
And this is a new actor playing as Art. It is, in a way, a love letter to the 80s slasher genre. Art is a slasher. He is brutally murdering people. That's what you're there to see.
For a second there, I thought you were going to say it's a love story about a clown who kills people, but he's in love. He does it for love. Okay.
So, like, when you think about slasher movies, like the acting, you're not there for the acting. Like, if the acting is good, that's, a bonus. But I think Art the Clown is the best actor of all the characters in this movie. The other ones are not that good. But that's not what I'm there to see. I'm not there to see, top-notch acting. It's not. I'm not expecting this to win an Emmy. It's on Netflix, so you can watch it pretty availably. Should add the caveat that this is the person who made this movie knew that they could get away with a lot of gore.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very gory movie. There are scenes that will make your skin crawl. There is a scene that this movie definitely is infamous for. If you go look up, it's the one scene everyone talks about. It features a age-old torture, not device, but mechanic, involving a hacksaw. It is creepy. Art the Clown is just fucking he freaks you out, man. Like he's this black and white clown, like head to toe black and white. He's got a black and white suit on, black shoes. His face is painted white with like black eyes and black lipstick, but then he smiles. And he smiles and his teeth are black, but his gums are like bleeding. And so it's just like vicious, like he smiles at you. You're like, oh god.
Are they like pointy teeth?
No, they're just kind of like very straight.
Okay.
But they look almost inhuman in a way. Like they're very weird.
What is his nose situation? Does he have like a ball on his nose?
Long crooked nose. And it's very creepy looking. Art is. Yeah, abnormally, yeah. Like Art is a very creepy and like scary figure. Like I think Art is the star of this movie. Like if they ever made a Terrifier 2 somehow with Art, like I would watch it just for Art, because I think Art comes away from this and it's like I didn't really care for any of the other characters in this movie, but I feel like Art the Clown is like someone who could be at modern day like Freddy Krueger, modern day Jason.
Oh, okay.
More so Jason / Michael Myers, because he's silent. He almost looks like a mime in a way.
Oh,
so you're kind of like, why don't you call him Art the Mime? But they call him Art the Clown. He does do some clownish things later on. This movie is creepy, gory, and I highly recommend it. It's on Netflix. Like I said, if you're not into gore, just stay very far away from this movie because it goes some places. It's weird, but yeah. So that's the Terrifier.
I'm intrigued. How old is this movie? Do you know? Like,
I think it came out this year
wow.
late last year.
Okay.
It's not very old. It's only been around, I think, a year. So
it's not like a Netflix original. Is it just like a regular movie?
No, it's just a regular movie.
Okay.
I think it came on. I think it's been out a year, but I think it came on Netflix this year. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Cool.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. Like halfway through the movie, I was like, I don't really know what I feel about this movie. And then towards the end, I was like, that wasn't that bad. It was actually really good. I really liked it. As someone who likes slasher movies, like that's, we were talking in Discord earlier about there's a movie coming out. It came out this past weekend, actually, Hellfest.
Oh, it's already out? I thought it was next weekend.
I believe
by the time this comes out, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Hellfest is like a return to slasher genre, and like it's slashers have always been my favorite. Like Jason Voorhees is my favorite character. Michael Myers is really cool. Freddy's really cool. And like I've always had the opinion that like making a slasher nowadays is very hard because our society has just been kind of polarized by jump scares. So like, how do you make a slasher that doesn't have jump scares that's still true to the slasher genre? Is like, those old slasher movies, you're kind of there to see kills. Like that's kind of, you're almost rooting for the bad guy in most cases. So I'm interested to see how Hellfest does.
And I'll just say for the record, I love a good jump scare. I mean,
yeah, so do I. But it's just that's thanks to like Paranormal Activity and all these found footage films and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like that's what kind of people recognize as horror. Like I think if you ask anybody, The Predator is not a horror movie, but it is a horror movie. It's featuring a big bad monster who is scary, but to them, that's probably just an action film to most people. But it is a horror movie, so yeah. Just we're talking about horror. I just want to talk about horror. I love horror.
Okay. I will say I think it's interesting that you watched yet another clown movie, because just the other week we were talking about Stitches, and like now we're just like on a horror clown theme. I don't know. It's weird.
I mean, well, we originally were going to watch Terrifier, and then I was like, well, let's watch Stitches. But I think the cover art for Terrifier on Netflix like just kind of draws you in because it's a picture of art, and the first time you see art, you're gonna be like, okay, all right. So, yeah. So Terrifier and the Nun for me.
Cool. Sometimes I just like to do this thing where I just pause real quick and just check and make sure we're recording, because I have my OCD and I'm like, are we really recording? Let me just double check. Okay, yes, we're definitely recording. I panic. It's fine. Okay. All right, so now we'll take just a brief jump away from horror for a tiny bit and talk about some video games, because I guess that's why we're here. So we're still in that mix where we got some really good games going on. We got Spider-Man, we got Shadow of the Tomb Raider. It's like, such good games. So of course I am going to play a game called Trials Evolution, which was released in 2012. Now, why would I play that, right? I don't know. So just randomly, my friend Crawley, who I've played Trials Fusion with, and then we played some of the beta together for Trials Rising. So he's my Trials buddy, and he's really good. He's the one where I always want to try to beat his time on a track, and I never do because he's super good at it. Sometimes I can beat Hugh's score, but not often. But anyway, so he's my buddy, and he just randomly, I get this email that says he's gifted me Trials Evolution on Steam. And I'm like, that's so sweet. Oh my God. Yes, I need more Trials in my life. Thank you. So of course I immediately downloaded it. And instead of playing Spider-Man or Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I was like, let me just play this a little. I'll talk about Shadow of the Tomb Raider next week, because I'm in a good spot with it now. But at the time, I was like, oh, I don't want to play this. I'm bored, and so that's why I went and played Trials Evolution, and it's just it's your typical Trials game. These are all pretty much the same. You're on your bike going across tracks, trying not to crash. And so the interesting thing was so I'm playing on the PC, and I just had it there with me in the living room, and I was feeling super lazy. So I was like, I don't even want to get up and go plug in a mouse or go get a controller to do this. So I was like, I'm just going to play on my laptop. And when you're playing Trials Fusion on the PC, apparently all you need are the arrow keys. So up is to go, back or down is your brake, and then left and right are to lean left or right. So it's super easy. So you're playing with just one hand, which was new to me because I'm used to using a joystick on one and accelerating with the other hand, So it took a little bit of getting used to, but I adapted to it pretty well. And I was like, this is just a fun little thing. I'm not even going to care about it. I'm just going to go through this and just see what happens, But then the first time that I got a silver medal and I was about half a second away from getting a gold medal, I was like, no, I have to go back until I get this gold medal. So I ended up going and getting the gold medals because I guess I'm a little bit OCD about my Trials games. And one thing that I thought was really cool, this came out in 2012, so it was quite a while ago. And it has a feature that was just built into the game where at the end of your track race, you can just click this button and say, I want to share this on YouTube. And it will export your run on that track. And then you can link and upload it to YouTube, just like super easy. And like, it feels like that was like 6 years ago. And we probably didn't have the type of streaming and video capture stuff that we did now. So I feel like it was probably like a pretty revolutionary thing to have in a game. So I thought that was pretty cool. Cody, you would like this one the best probably because it had more of like a heavy metal soundtrack. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah. Okay. And then there was these maps that would show up sometimes that they seemed like maybe you were in the middle of World War II and like there were bombs and stuff dropping all around you and like you're biking over shrapnel and stuff. It was pretty interesting, but some of them were like normal looking tracks. So I don't know what was going on there, but I didn't play any of the multiplayer. I don't know if there are still people around playing this game online, but I had it.
I'm sure there are.
Probably.
It's Steam. Somebody's like, oh, hey, I still love that game. Totally.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I had a lot of fun with the campaign. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, guys. I have a bit of a Trials addiction. I can't help it. I just have fun playing those types of games. So, I don't know. Cody, did you play any new or really old but new to you games?
So it's apparently been on PC for a bit. But I played this game called Warface. It had a like kind of closed alpha kind of thing going on that you could buy into for $60 a few weeks back.
That's expensive for an early access. Jump in.
Yeah, I know, right? But it just went free to play on PS4. It is a modern combat shooter. Their kind of pitch is that like while Battlefield and Call of Duty were going to the future or going to the past, like they've been making this game to be modern combat, like what people have been wanting for a while, boots on the ground, but modern instead of old World War II guns. But I was like, okay, that's a pretty brilliant pitch. Like, the only other people doing that is really like Rainbow Six Siege, but that's like a tactical. This is more fast paced. And this one comes with like co-op PvE missions and a multiplayer PvP kind of maps. So I jumped in and I played a couple of the co-op PvP stuff, and I think I just unlocked a PvP match and I didn't get to hop into it, but I have seen gameplay of it. It definitely reminds me of old school Call of Duty games that I used to play, like Modern Warfare 2 is what it reminded me a lot of. Really fast paced, you're constantly running around into people. The shooting feels really good, and there's a lot of cool mechanics to it. So like they've introduced, so you can vault in the game, so you can vault over walls and stuff. But to say you want to get up to a higher vantage point, well, if you got a buddy next to you, you hold square against this wall, you can lift each other up and pull the other guy up. And so like me and this dude were playing the co-op PvE mission, and like we wanted to get to a sniper spot, so we helped each other up while other two guys were running around shooting people on the ground, and we got up there and started sniping people. And like I was like, this is really cool. And like the AI is actually like, I don't think there's a level you can put the AI on. Maybe there is, I didn't find it. But the AI was like, for where we're at, we're actually kind of difficult at points, but also like there were some dumb AI, like one that would just run up to you and stand there, and I was like, you're dead, buddy. But there were some that were like shoot you from very far away. So like it did feel like a nice balance for a beginner mission. I think the only issue with the game is that it is a free-to-play game, so there are microtransactions in the game, and you would think, okay, microtransactions, like I can buy a skin for my gun. That's true. You can also pay $60 and unlock every weapon from the start instead of earning it. So that sucks. And like PS Plus does get like a 1 month like booster pack thing. Mm-hmm. I think comes with a couple guns. So I don't know, like if you don't grab that right away, I wonder how long it's in the store for. Mm. And that kind of sucks. Like I would prefer if they just stuck to skins. I don't like the idea that like if I do hop into PvP later on and I have 2 guns. Meanwhile, Johnny Two Shoes over there paid $60, and he's got a gold scar that's gonna shoot me from across the map and one-shot me. But I guess it's the price to pay for a free-to-play game, and it's really well made. I'll give them that.
And also, say someone's been playing it for like 2 months straight, and then somebody else just jumps in. So somebody who's been playing it all that time is going to have all the better guns anyway.
Yeah, good point.
So I mean, that's just something that's going to happen. I don't know.
I'm not that bothered by it. Like, I'm gonna play it every now and then, just get see what I can get. And they give you a nice tutorial at the start that kind of teaches you everything. It teaches you how to do the vaulting thing. It helps you learn how to equip sights on the fly, and like, it's a pretty cool thing. Like, it's free, so like you could definitely just hop in, give it a shot, see what you like about it. I definitely recommend it. So that's Warface.
Not to be confused with Warframe. There's a lot of games that sound similar these days.
Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say. It's made by Crytek, who they used to make the Crisis games back in the day. So I kind of got the feel from that. So
I was like, what did we were just talking about Crytek, but isn't Crytek the one who does Far Cry? Is that what Byron? I think Byron was talking about that on our Discord. We were talking about the original Far Cry. Okay. Well, maybe.
Yeah. It's
irrelevant, I guess. It doesn't matter. It's fine. Warface. Warface? That's what it's called?
Warface.
Okay.
I guess because you're putting on your war face and going in the war.
That sounds right. Sure.
Yeah.
All right, so now you're going to tell me about some, like, exciting new game that we've never even heard of, because, like, it's just so new and exciting, right?
Unfortunately, no, because there's a game I've talked about the past couple weeks. So this is a new segment we're introducing, and the idea about this new segment was going to be, it's the Destiny Report. And we would report in very quickly about what we've been doing in Destiny. The only issue is, a lot of exciting things are going on, and now I need to gush about Destiny for a couple of minutes. And I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. So, like, let me paint the scene here. Young Cody. By young Cody, I mean 2 years ago. Here's all this good, exciting stuff about Destiny 1. Hasn't picked it up. It's like, it's not my thing. Then Destiny 1 Rise of Iron expansion comes out, and I hop in, and it's the best thing I've ever played at the time. I was like, this is amazing. There's all this stuff to do. It's super fun. Let's fast forward a year. Destiny 2 comes out. I'm having fun. Destiny 2 is great, but it's not that same fun that I got from Rise of Iron. Let's fast forward a year. Destiny 2 Forsaken comes out. I'm back in that spot where I'm having the time of my life playing this game. Like, it is so much fun. It's all I think about lately. I'm like, all right, well, what am I going to do when I get on? All right, well, I got to do this stuff to get ready to play with Sam because we're recording 2 Guardians. There's always something for me to do. And like, so the big thing I did this weekend, because I was sick, I had a lot of time. I hit the max rank in Gambit and reset my rank. Let me tell you something. I did this mainly solo, so let me give you some tips out there if you're playing Gambit by yourself. If you queue into a game, just don't worry about motes. Let your team pick motes, because you're just there to kill stuff. Because if you have one less person fighting for motes, the only time I would go get motes if I saw no one was going to pick them up, and then I would stop at 5 and go bank. It's just, there are people there who just are diehard about getting motes. Let them do it. I just focused on being in the back, killing stuff. If a blocker came through, I would kill them. And then I would invade if I needed to. If I won a game, I instantly left. Because for some reason I noticed if you queued multiple times in a row without backing out, you would somehow find a 4-stack. Like, somehow. Or you would get put into a 1v3 like I did when I was on a 4-win streak. So I found that if I won a game, left, requeued, I got to a 5-win streak multiple times in a row. And once you hit the legend ranked in Gambit, the only way you can get Gambit points to rank up to get to the reset is by winning or bounties.
Wait,
So I was like, well, I gotta win.
Second. Did you say by winning or by bounties?
Yes, by winning or by bounties.
Okay.
Once you hit legend, and you have to get 3,000 XP that way. So I was like, I'm going on this win streak. I'm gonna get there. Yeah, I was like, oh god. But I had a lot of fun doing it. And when you reset, you get a masterworked hand cannon that feels amazing. Like I was like, well, this is a lot of fun. I like this. I'm shooting stuff, they're exploding. I was happy. I gotta do it 2 more times though, because I want the title associated with Gambit, and to get everything for it, I gotta get a ghost that requires you to reset your infamy rank 3 times. So
is that reset 3 times in one season?
I believe so, yes.
God, that's so much Gambit.
But I'm dedicated to it. I love Gambit. I think Gambit is my favorite mode of any game I've ever played. Like, it's just a ton of fun. You get your heart racing when both enemy teams got primeval up and you're just watching the bars on each side. And another big thing I did was I hopped into the raid with Justin Townsend from Talking Games and a couple of the Broken Thumbsticks guys, if you remember them. And we bashed our heads against this one boss for like 3 hours.
Oh, jeez.
Didn't get that far, but I had a blast. Like every try, was just fun. Like, and it hasn't I remember playing Leviathan was the Destiny 2 base raid, and I don't know, I just was kind of really annoyed by it. I guess I didn't like the mechanics. The mechanics in this new raid are a lot of fun. There's actually bosses this time around, whereas in Leviathan there's not really bosses until the final fight. This one there is multiple bosses. So yeah, we would mess up one tiny thing and the thing would wipe. But I was happy the entire time because it was just fun to play and it was a blast, and I don't know. It's I love Destiny 2, base Destiny 2. I love Osiris and I liked Warmine a lot. And there's something about Forsaken is just lit this fire in me to I'm thinking about Destiny tattoos all day at work, and I'm like, what do I get tattooed on my skin? Not on my face. I just was rubbing my beard, thinking.
That's the villain.
I was gonna get
your thing.
Destiny stuff tattooed on underneath my beard. Don't mind me. And they're adding new stuff every week. The end game area, which I won't spoil if you haven't got that far, is changing. Today it changed dramatically, and it's that's crazy. That's really cool to me. I'm really excited for December when the new DLC drops. Next year we get to update the Gambit. I think the Drifter is my favorite fucking character because he has the funniest lines.
Yeah.
And there's new ones I feel every week. I feel he gets updated every week with new lines about stuff, and I'm down for this. This is pretty funny. I can't talk enough. When we talk about games of the year, I am going to count Destiny Forsaken as an entirely new thing because it's added so much. It's and it comes with its issues. I think Infusion is kind of broken at the moment because
you think so? Yeah. I don't know.
Mainly because Masterwork cores are not very prominent, and it kind of is the anti of what they've been teaching us about Infusion for the past year of Destiny 2, where it went from oh, you only really need Glimmer and you can infuse all the time, to now it's well, now you need all this stuff.
Yeah, I believe somebody said that was serious bullshit quite a while ago, but
okay, I was fine with it until I was hey, there's not really a easy way to get Masterwork cores. This kind of sucks.
I think sometimes Spider sells them, because I think Jessica needed some this weekend, and I think she bought some from him. So it just depends on what he's selling. But
yeah, and I don't know. I'm just every time I log in, I'm super excited to play. Iron Banner was this past week. I didn't like the Iron Banner armor, but I love Lord Saladin, so seeing my boy Saladin up there in the corner, I'm like, how you doing, man? How you doing? Um, and like we're gonna get the Halloween event this year, Festival of the Lost, and it's apparently got a big update coming to it. So I'm excited for that. Like, I understand Destiny 2 got its shit because of how it was very like it took a step back from Destiny 1 at the end. But like I think we're in a time where Destiny, like that scene from John Wick where it's like everyone keeps saying I'm back. I'm thinking I'm back. That's Destiny 2 right now. It's back.
I never saw John Wick, so I don't know what you're talking about, but it's fine.
Okay, what the time out? What the fuck? You've never seen John Wick? John Wick's amazing. I haven't seen John Wick 2, so I can't talk.
Oh my god, you haven't seen John Wick 2? What's wrong with you?
I'm a blasphemer. But yeah, so this was me gushing about Destiny. Next week, if we do a Destiny report, it'll be very short.
I'll just say that I was playing some Gambit also. I played with Gorak, this new guy from our Discord who joined just for Destiny. Me and him and Hugh from Talking Games played a bit this weekend, and it went well. And then I played with Jess also. So I think on both accounts I've got all of my hand cannon kills in Gambit that I needed to get. And I am happy to report that at least twice in Gambit, I invaded and killed all 4 players on the other team. So
nice.
Yeah, I was feeling pretty badass after that. But yeah.
Yeah, I think Gambit's such a great mode. Like it's got its issues, but it's getting like the sleeper simulator is a very strong gun, but they're nerfing it to an extent by making its aim assist a little different. But yeah, Gambit's every time I step out of a Gambit match, I'm
Cody.
That was really fun.
Oh my god, there was something I needed to tell you about. I don't know if you've heard about this. It's pretty serious. So there was an incident in Raccoon City, and there's lots of stories going around about what really happened. Some people say there was like a nuclear meltdown. Some people say there was a virus. There was rioting in the streets. What we know is a lot of people died. Trouble was they didn't stay dead. Cody, I believe it's time for Resident Evil.
Okay, I didn't know where you were going for that for a second. I was like, what's happening?
No, okay. I thought it'd be fun to just interrupt and bring it up. So
nice.
Surprise! I like it. The feature of this episode is about Resident Evil. Were you done with Destiny? I was figuring you were about done with Destiny.
Good.
So I was like, we're just going to interrupt. We're going to go for it.
No, you're good.
So yeah. See, you guys, if you've listened to the podcast, like at all, you know I love me some Resident Evil. And Cody is just kind of starting to get into it. Now, I wanted to ask you, Cody, so did you know about the movies or the games first?
The movies.
Okay. I was the same.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, because I don't know. I wasn't like a super big gamer. In my younger years when Resident Evil first came out. The first Resident Evil came out in 1996. So Cody wasn't born yet. I was just, no, I'm just kidding.
I was like, wait, hold on. I was 2, thank you.
Seriously?
1996?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was born in 1994. Oh god, now everyone knows my age.
Sometimes I feel so old. Yeah, it's fine.
So yeah, I don't think, and my brother listens to this podcast, so he can tell me differently. I don't think any of my brothers played Resident Evil games, so I just wasn't exposed to them. But I remember watching a couple of the movies, and then kind of realizing like, there's video games that these movies are based off of. Okay. But yeah, earlier this year, I made a Games of Shame list. It was a bunch of series I had never played before. Resident Evil was one of them. So we kind of righted that wrong this year by our Let's Play series of Resident Evil 5. And I had a fucking blast. I love that game. That was so much fucking fun.
I mean, hold on. Just to be clear, it was a two-pronged attack for your lack of Resident Evil games. We played Resident Evil 5, and then you were trying Resident Evil 7 on your own.
Good point.
That was actually your first attempt, right?
Yeah.
That didn't go so well.
I got pretty far, I guess.
No, not really.
No?
No.
No, I got stuck at some point, and we need to sit down and do a share play so I can figure out where I need to go because I'm so lost.
I haven't been pushing
Resident
it.
5,
I thought you were just gonna stop. I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to make you play it if you don't want to. So.
No, I'd like to, because I like a good horror game. So, and I've heard so many good things about this one. So yeah, Resident Evil 5, I had a lot of fun with. I don't know. I guess it probably is partially because we played together. But also, I don't know. I kind of like the story was cool. Like it was nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Like you kind of filled me in on some stuff. But I like the characters of Chris and Shiva. Like they were really cool. I think my biggest complaint was the final boss fight. There was one part, and this comes out after it's over, so we can kind of talk about this now.
Yeah.
There's a part that we just could not figure the fuck out, and I was getting a little ragey. I was like, nope, fuck this, I'm done.
Cody was getting so mad, and I could tell that he was like really mad, and he was getting really frustrated at me because like I kept screwing stuff up and we didn't know what we were doing, but like he kept it in. You kept it in really well, Cody, because like you weren't getting mean to me or anything. You were just like, I could just tell it was like boiling under the surface.
Because I think like in Resident Evil 7, it's just not clear what I need to do next.
Yeah.
And so like for this part, like this was the first time in the game I was like, it's unclear what we need to do here. Like I'm very confused.
Well,
and I was just getting mad.
There were at least 3 boss fights towards the end where we had that problem.
Good point.
And so we were getting frustrated the previous next to last episode, and then the last episode there were 2 parts. And like we were fighting this guy for a really long time before like I was about to die and we didn't have any herbs, and so like he told me to just go run around and try to find something. And while I was doing that, I found the rocket launchers that we needed to use to do this. So, but it took a really long time. I edited it out a lot of that episode so that people wouldn't see how long we spent just like running around being like, I don't know what we're supposed to do.
But yeah, it was really cool, and like it kind of excites me to play the Resident Evil 2 remake because I know that's one you really like.
Well, to be clear, I'm excited about Resident Evil 2 remake. I've never successfully played Resident Evil 2.
That's right.
That was, we'll come back to that. But yeah, so Resident Evil 5, like we had a lot of fun with that. I love that it was co-op because like it doesn't seem like there's a ton of horror games out there that are good co-op where you can play with a buddy. So it's exciting to get to do that. Did you ever play just the original Resident Evil because we got it on PS Plus when they did the HD remaster?
No, I don't remember that. When was that? Very long time ago, I imagine.
Probably at least a year ago.
Okay, no, I don't think I ever did that one.
Yeah. So I
think I remember that, but no, I never got it.
You probably didn't claim it because you're like, what's this stupid game? I don't want to play this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I had it and I tried it when I first got it, I think, and I didn't care for it. But in honor of our Resident Evil episode, I was like, I'm going to try it again because I was going to try to play as many Resident Evils as I could to just, get a well-rounded opinion here. So Resident Evil 1... It starts, you pick who you want to play as. The first one you can play as Chris Redfield or Jill Valentine. So I picked to play as Jill, and your Bravo team has like lost contact. So you're Alpha team and you're going in to try to find them. In the woods, you get attacked by these freaking dogs. Of course, like they're pretty much in like all the games, these hellhound dogs that attack you. And so you run into the mansion, and then you have to go like explore the mansion, deal with zombies, try to figure out what happens, I guess. I didn't play for very long because like, I don't like those old games very much. The graphics were like, they surprised me how good they were, because like I'd forgotten, but they were, the HD remaster looks really good. And there are like 5 different control settings you can pick, so I finally found one where like I could actually like walk backwards and move around without it being like super weird. So that was okay, but like you don't have like an aiming reticule. You just like point your gun and hope for the best. That game didn't like highlight objects that you could pick up, so you just had to really have an eagle eye and be like, oh yeah, that looks like something I can go pick up. And then you go stand by it, and it doesn't give you a prompt. You just have to push the button and be like, oh yeah, I can pick this up. So it seemed kind of rough. I followed a walkthrough for a little while to just like make some progress, because I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing in this game. But I feel like it was a pretty well done remake for updating it. And if you like that type of hard game where you just have to figure it out and stuff isn't just like laid out for you, then maybe it's for you. It's not for me. But yeah, so Resident Evil 2, I had this game for Nintendo 64, and like I couldn't last 5 minutes because like I would just get killed by the zombies like constantly. I just couldn't do it at all. And so I was like, you know what? I'm a better gamer. I'm gonna whip that bad boy out. I'm gonna try it again, and I'm gonna like see if I can do this now. And so I went and like got my N64 out. I'm like, all right, let's do this. And like I could not find the cartridge. I must have gotten rid of the game at some point, which I didn't think that I had. So I was very disappointed. And I was tempted to like try to go to like a vintage stock and see if they had just a cheap one. But then I was like, I'm only going to play this for like 30 minutes probably. It's really not worth the time. But so I did not play that one. I have never played Resident Evil 3 or Code Veronica. I love Resident Evil 4, so we don't even have to get into that one. Yeah. I did go back and I played Resident Evil 0, which that's on Game Pass right now on Xbox. And this is a prequel to the first Resident Evil. And like I said before, like the Bravo team went missing. So in Resident Evil 0, you're playing as Bravo team, and you're going
okay.
You end up on a train. I don't know why. And there's zombies on the train. This was before Snakes on a Plane. It was zombies on a train. So, and the cool thing about this one was you end up playing as 2 characters kind of at the same time. You switch back and forth between them. And so like if you'll need to like do puzzles, like one of them will be locked in the room and the other one will be free, and they'll have to go get some stuff to like help this other one get out, and you just like can easily switch back and forth between them. That was cool. What's not cool about this one is like you're in a train car, about yay wide. You walk to the end of the train car, and then there's like this loading screen to like get to the next room. So like every few seconds there's a loading screen, and I was just like, oh my god, I don't have the patience for it. But it seemed otherwise like if it hadn't had that, also if it had had a better inventory management, I think it would have been a lot better. So, okay, so then I've always said that Resident Evil 6 is just horrible, and I hate it, and it's just like a disgrace to the series. But I was like, okay,
I think a lot of people would agree with you.
Say that.
From what I've read online.
But I was like, you know what? I'm doing my special thing here. I'm gonna give it another go. Okay, so I popped it in to play it, and this one has like 4 different people that you can start playing as, and like they each have their own chapters. So you've got Leon Kennedy, I think Chris Redfield again, Ada Wong, and I think this guy named Jake Mueller, which I don't know who he is. I don't know if he's been in other games before, but I apparently never played as him. So I looked at my stuff, and I'd apparently played 1 chapter as Leon and 1 chapter as Chris before I gave up on this game. So I decided this time I'd play as Ada Wong. She's a lot of fun. She has a grapple gun, and she just like, she always seems like a badass. So I started it, and it was real rough, Cody. I was just like getting killed over and over again because like these enemies would keep swarming me and I was like, this is ridiculous, I hate this. And then I stopped and thought about it and I was like, when I first played Resident Evil 4, pretty much right at the beginning, there's the village where you get swarmed by this horde of enemies. So that's classic Resident Evil, having to deal with this from the beginning. So it's like, I just need to play smarter and like try to keep my stealth up and like not get myself overrun like this. And so I did. I was like, okay, I'm going to take it slow. You can sneak up on enemies and like attack them from behind and just like one shot take them out. So I did a lot of that. And then like I finally got the hang of my crossbow because she has a crossbow, which is pretty cool.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. But the thing is you shoot your arrow and then like you would think it would like maybe automatically reload, but it doesn't. You have to hit the shoot button again to put an arrow in. And then you hit your shoot button again to shoot it. And so, like, if you forgot to reload it after you shot it, then, like, you'd be trying to shoot someone and you'd actually have to be like, oh, gotta reload the crossbow. So that was getting me into trouble for a while until I got the hang of it. So the problem I'd had with Resident Evil 6 before, I think, was that it was just, like, it was too, like, nonstop action. Like, it was trying to be, like, a Call of Duty or whatever and not, like, the style, the ambiance of a Resident Evil game. But I'm playing it and I'm like, oh, I can push this button and it's gonna like highlight and show me a way marker and be like, hey, go this way now, here, do this. And I'm like, I fucking love that. You know how I bitch about in games where I never know where to go. Like, this is telling me exactly where to go. And I'm like, this is having really fun actions. Like, there's no reason why I shouldn't like this game. Like, I was having a good time with it. And I think the only reason that I didn't like it before is I think it was just too hard for me. Like, I wasn't as good at video games back then, so I was dying a lot. Like I said, I wasn't like playing smart enough to avoid stuff. And just like having to manage inventory on the fly and not really being able to pause the game like it was always live. I think that was just like too much for me back when I tried to play it before. But now I'm like, you know what, you guys, Resident Evil 6 is alright. At least this first chapter that I played, like I was having a good time with it. Like, if I didn't have so many other games I wanted to play right now, like, I might go back and play some more Resident Evil 6. And I might still go back and do it, once I have some time. But, like, I take back all the bad things that I've said about it. It was, it's not a bad game. Cody, what you gonna say?
Is Resident Evil 6 co-op?
Yes!
Why the fuck are we not playing that together? Come on, Sam, get together.
Well, because I have it on PS3, and because like I was never like I would never spend more money to buy this on another system. But I don't know. Maybe at some point we'll consider, if it's like on a really good sale, maybe we'll just get it and then we'll do another series. So.
Okay. All right.
But yeah.
Then we know your extensive knowledge with Resident Evil 7 because you played it 9,000 times.
Yes, exactly 9,000 times. Oh, guys, look, here's my Resident Evil shirt. I think it's like backwards. You can't see it, but that says Resident Evil. So, oh my god. Also, real quick, there's this game called Umbrella Corps, which Umbrella is the company in all the Resident Evil stuff. They're the bad guys. It's real bad. It's not a good game.
You talked about it on here before.
Yeah, I talked about it. It was bad. So that's a bad game. There's also Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2, which I've played some of Resident Evil Revelations 1, and it was a lot of fun. It felt really like back to like what a Resident Evil 4 type game would be. Oh my god, Cody's yawning. He's like, I'm so tired about this Resident Evil talk. But yeah, it was it was a lot of fun. I don't remember if those are co-op or not, but I think that they are both on Game Pass right now as well. So I've been considering getting one on Switch just to have like a Resident Evil game.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They go on sale on Switch all the time. I'm always like, I should buy one of these.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they'll have like a Halloween sale pretty soon. So
I hope so. That'd be awesome. But yeah.
So,
is there anything else you want to talk about the games?
no, just like I'm glad I finally got to play a Resident Evil game. I definitely want to go back and play Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
But I think Resident Evil 2 is really looking really cool. But yeah, like, I think I'm excited to play some more Resident Evil games. Just kind of lit the fire in me. So
awesome. I mean, you might say you got infected. Like.
Oh, nice. With Ouroboros for Resident Evil 5.
Exactly. Good job. So.
A lot of fun names in Resident Evil 5.
Yeah, it's weird. Okay, let's. Do you want to talk about some Resident Evil movies? Cause like.
Well.
Tell me your story.
Funny story. So Saturday night, I watched Resident Evil 1 because I knew we were doing the podcast. So last night, I was like, all right, I'll take this cough medicine they gave me. It's going to make me a little drowsy, but I'll fall asleep to Resident Evil 2. Like, I'll finish it and fall asleep afterwards. So what I thought did was load up Resident Evil 2 to watch. And then I got halfway through the movie, and I'm like, man, it's fucking really familiar. Like, did I just really love Resident Evil 2 as a kid or something? No. I accidentally hit play on Resident Evil 1. And like, I got to the dog scene in Resident Evil 1, and I was like, man, this is real fucking familiar. Like, what? And I was like, oh, shit, it's midnight. I'm just gonna go to sleep. So, I only watched Resident Evil 1. I've seen parts of Resident Evil 2. I've probably watched all of Resident Evil, and I've seen a bunch of the other Resident Evil movies.
Yeah.
Could not tell you what's going on in them, besides the fact that Alice is a badass, and then there's another main heroine. I don't know her name, but...
Well, there's a lot of other badass women. Like, that's one of the things that I think really drew me to the Resident Evil franchise, was that there are, like, so many badass women in these movies. Like, every movie kind of has a different one, and then some of them come back. But that's one thing that's been really cool. It blows my mind that you were so messed up on your cough syrup that you didn't realize it was the same movie you'd already watched. It's so bad.
It's just like, all seems really familiar, and then there'd be a reason for that.
Yeah, that's all right. Let's go ahead and talk about the first movie. So, what were some of your... All right, what was your, like, overall opinion? Good movie, bad movie? What do you think?
I think it was a decent movie. How are we judging the Resident Evil? Are we judging them based as video game movies or as movies?
I would say just as movies, or both, but, like, just movies, because, like, when we first watched them, we didn't know about the games.
Yeah.
So,
as a base movie, I think it's a pretty decent movie. I think it has a plot that unravels as you watch, and it gets pretty good towards the end. I think the effects are pretty good. For when did this movie come out? 2000.
Hold on, I've got it here. I got notes. 2002 is when the first one came out.
Yeah, 2002. I think the effects were pretty good. There's some bad CGI at some points, but for the most part, I liked it. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I liked their effects. Like, you can tell, like, the big monster at the end, which is, like, the tongue lasher guy, like, they spent a lot of their money on that. So, like,
yeah. And,
like, if you had a close-up on the dogs, then you would see, like, they had, like, CGI effects on that. But otherwise, like, if it was just a body shot of the dogs, like, you could clearly tell that these were just regular dogs that they'd, like, draped a bunch of, like, gore and, like, bloody skin on to, like, make them look scary. But you could tell that they were just dogs. And I thought that was really awesome. I think it's a real good movie. I don't know.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
It's again, like, you've got your badass women, which I like. So you've got Alice, and then you've also got Michelle Rodriguez in this one. You've got amnesia. Like, I'm a sucker for, like, an amnesia story. Like, if someone wakes up and doesn't remember who they are, I'm like, yes, this is
badass woman, amnesia. fucking sold.
I'm sold on it. Seriously, like anytime there's a story where somebody like wakes up and doesn't know who they are, like that book I was just talking about, like that, I'm like, yes, I want to know about this. I want their mystery to unravel as they like, we find out about them the same time they're finding out about themselves. So that gets me, I love the dogs and like her fighting those dogs. It's just like, there's some iconic scenes, like when she runs on the wall and then like flips over and like just kicks the dog in the head.
Yeah.
Which like also like it's a zombie dog. Kicking it in the head's not gonna do much, but hey, it's fine. It's awesome. There's the scene where they've just gone into the facility and like the room that's all filled with water and like you see that the body just floating there, and then like as soon as they walk away, like it puts its hand up and like opens its eyes. It's just like that little moment gets you.
It's got some very cool scenes, like the laser wall room.
My God, yes.
Because you're like, oh, I don't know the name of the actor, but the African American man, who has very badass deaths in 2 movies I know about. This one. And he's in Jason X, and he rides Jason down into the Earth's atmosphere and dies that way.
That's awesome.
And this dude just has really good deaths in movies, apparently.
Well, and that was really good effects, like the laser rooms, because like when you first see the lady and her neck just like and just her head just slides off. So I guess you'd already seen the guy's fingers get cut off. I think they
picked and choose there because they were like, all right, let's make this neck look really cool, but that dude who got some of his hand chopped off, it looked very like weird, like almost like rock candy, like inside of his hand. I was like, okay, whatever.
They had to take care of their budget, and like they knew what they were putting all of their money into. They're like, let's make some of this stuff look real cool. The rest of it we'll just push under the rug. It'll be fine. But yeah, and then that guy who just gets like diced up. That was pretty cool.
And my biggest complaint with the was afterwards when they end up going in the hallway again, and like they very clearly are like, we don't have like, we can't do that effect, or like we don't have like practical effects to have like little blocks of flesh on the ground, so they don't show it at all. Like he's just missing pretty much from that hallway.
I'd never realized that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, they don't show it. And I was like, okay, like, that'd be kind of cool if you showed it at least.
Nice.
I think the dogs look really cool. I think like a very iconic scene is what's her name? Rain, her character. She's been bitten a couple times and she's bleeding. Yeah. And they're sitting on top of these pipes. They're like, oh, get on top of the pipes. And she's like dripping blood down onto the zombies, and the zombies are just freaking the fuck out. They're like, give it to us, give it to us. I thought that was a really cool scene.
Well, and then the other soldier guy who kind of gets separated from them, and he's over like on the pipes by himself, and he's not going to be able to get away, and he's only got like 1 bullet left, and so like he's saving it, and you think he's going to kill himself, but then he doesn't. He just shoots a zombie and then like waits to get eaten. So it's tough decisions like that, man. I don't know.
Yeah. I think my biggest complaint with the movie is they don't really like. I think they kind of rely on people just knowing Umbrella Corps is a bad business for a while before they're like, oh, like they experimented on humans and like stuff like that. Like, oh, they murdered all these people. So like the whole like Alice getting her flashbacks to the sister wanting to buy the stuff and all of that, and which like she was going to sell the T-virus to these people, and they were just going to sell it on like a black market, and that was totally cool, I guess. Like,
oh, I thought she was just going to like use it as evidence to expose what the corporation was doing.
I thought Matt was like, we were going to sell it to get a bunch of money, but maybe he was lying to her at that point.
Apparently, I didn't pay as good of attention as I thought. Also, you were sick, so there's no telling if you're accurate with your.
I mean, good point. Here. I mean, technically, I watched this movie Twice. I did think his name was Max, but I'm pretty sure someone calls him Max in this fucking
I
movie.
don't think so.
Someone at some point was like, "Hey, Max," and I was like, "Yep, okay."
No, his name's Matt.
Um,
I'm pretty sure because like Alice was selling, but I don't know that she was selling it. She was gonna get her this stuff. It was like, promise me you will use this to take them down. Like that was the whole point of it, was to expose Umbrella and bring down the corporation.
okay.
I think
I'm pretty sure.
I think that
maybe
other
Max.
dude, the other dudes took this stuff, and I think he was gonna sell it to make money. He double crossed her. But
Alice's husband.
husband in quotation marks.
Okay, but no, but
Yeah.
Matt was Lisa's brother.
Yeah.
Because Lisa was the person that was okay, and Matt was telling her like, "Oh, we were just gonna sell it," but maybe he was just lying because he didn't know who Alice was at that point. I don't know.
I don't know.
Because then Alice tells him towards the end because she remembers everything.
Yeah, I might need to watch that part again. Can we
So I have
backtrack?
this. Oh, go for it.
Backtrack for just 1 second to the very beginning of the movie when the outbreak first starts happening and those people are stuck in the elevator and that woman is trying to crawl through the hole. She's like, no, I can make it. There is absolutely no way she
Yeah.
ever could have made it through
Thank
that
you.
hole. That was ridiculous.
Like,
she's
She's like,
delusional.
just push me, and it's like, no, your shoulder is stuck, woman. They're going to kill you.
There's no way she could have fit through that hole. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god. Now I will say I'm a sucker for when they tie things together.
Mhm.
So at the beginning of this movie, they show a guy, somebody bumps into him, and he spills coffee on himself.
Mhm.
And at the end of the movie, you see it's the dude who was taking the T virus and all that. He caused the outbreak.
Mhm.
And so I was like, oh, okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
I love when they do that in the movie. I will say, I think by the end of the movie, they were running low on money. And so the special effects for like the stuff coming out of Matt's arm that was
Yeah.
going to make him Nemesis was a little rough looking. Like it just kind of looked like Play-Doh was coming out of his arm.
Hey, man.
Um,
You have to make decisions when you have a strict budget. It's fine.
and yeah. So I've seen a few other Resident Evil movies.
Mm.
So is it ever kind of explored to why, like, because I think at some point doesn't Alice like do something and like she is like super powerful, like super strong and like, okay,
Okay.
going for it.
All right. So at the end of Resident Evil 1, both her and Matt are captured by Umbrella, right? So Matt's already got his infection in the arm. They just decide, hey, we like experimenting on people, so they inject Alice with the T virus. And Alice, through the whole Resident Evil universe, she's the only one whose cells can successfully bond with the T virus. So she doesn't turn into a mutated monster. She just gets superpowers. And so in Resident Evil 2, like, you see that. That's part of Umbrella is pitting her against Nemesis, which is what Matt has mutated into. And because, like, they both have superpowers, but, like, she is still retaining her humanity. And so they're seeing, like, which one can win in a fight, which is just, whatever.
I mean, that's pretty video gamey right there. That's.
Well, yeah. So before we went into this, I was kind of feeling like, I feel like Resident Evil 2 might be like my favorite movie. And like I briefly considered not watching the first one again. I was like, let's just watch the second one because like I like the second one better. And I think part of what it is the first one is trying to stay true to like the horror and like the slow building suspense type stuff, and 2 is where they're more starting to get into it's action. Let's have lots of action. She's a badass. She's a super powered hero. Whatever. Let's showcase that. And so there's less kind of downtime like you might have in a typical horror movie. And because with my short attention span, I'm drawn to that. I also like in this movie we get Jill Valentine as the secondary badass woman. She's a police officer. There's newspaper clippings like in her apartment or her house at the beginning that you briefly see, which I had to look up what exactly was going on because it said that she was a suspended officer, and apparently she was suspended because her partner Leon Kennedy was killed, and she's like, it was a suspicious thing, and so that's why she got suspended, which is interesting because then that sets up in this universe Leon Kennedy is dead. So which we'll come back to that in a little bit, let me tell you. But yeah, so the premise of this movie pretty much is the the infection has gotten out of the hive, because of course they went back and reopened the hive to see what happened and let everything out. And Raccoon City has just been taken over. And people are trying to escape the city, but somehow they have it perfectly quarantined off, and they have these like huge like metal walls that somehow they just already had built ready to go. I don't know, it's real suspect. But anyway, so everybody's trapped in the city. They find out they're going to nuke the city. There's this Dr. Ashford, who contacts Alice and some other people and is like, hey, if you save my daughter, I can get you out of the city. So they go find his daughter, and like, of course, there's this little girl that they have to deal with. Now, yes.
Isn't his daughter who the from the first movie, the little like computer AI is based off of?
Yes.
That's what I thought. Okay, I think I'm remembering the second movie now pretty well.
Yes. And her name is Angela.
Because doesn't Alice get a motorcycle and like ride it into a church?
Yes.
Okay, I'm remembering this movie a lot.
Yeah, she comes through the stained glass window, and then like she jumps off the motorcycle, has it go attack one of the tongue lasher guys, and then like shoots it and explodes pretty fantastically. Okay. There's like weird stuff between like the movies, like how they kind of change stuff, because like the final movie. Anyway, all right, we'll just say for now that Dr. Ashford and his daughter Angela, I believe he made the T virus to try to cure a problem that Angela had with her health. It became this bioweapon. He didn't intend that. It was a big oopsie. But anyway, so like Angela and Alice are both infected, but they're handling it okay. Like it works fine with their bodies. One thing that like I think part of why I've always liked this movie too is because, I don't know if you remember this, but one of the first trailers that came out for this one, it started off and it was like this old woman, and it was like, you know, with our new like regenerative cream, whatever, we can like reverse the effects of aging, and it's like blah, and it looks like it's like a beauty commercial, and like the background is all white, and this woman like de-ages to this like beautiful young woman, and she's sitting there and she has this Doberman with her, and then like the screen gets kind of like glitchy, and then like her face like transforms into a zombie, and it's like boom, this is a Resident Evil 2 trailer. And nice. It just like cuts to Alice in like the city that's just in ruins, and she's like cocking the shotgun, and I was just like, my God, that's like the greatest trailer in the world.
Yeah.
So like, I think that's why it's always part of it stuck with me too. Also, throughout the movies, I love how they generally have the ending of one movie like directly linked into the beginning of the next one. So yeah, the first one ends with Alice waking up in the hospital, going out, seeing the world, getting the shotgun, and that's like where it ends. And then that's also pretty much exactly where the second one starts up again. Although in a lot of them, pretty much all of them, I think for some reason, there's always a reason for her to be doing a voiceover explaining what has happened and getting you caught up in the story so far. And so, like in the second movie, it's because they've hooked up with this woman Terry, who is a newscaster, and she's like filming everything for her Emmy. And so, like what you heard at the beginning was Alice like recording on this camcorder. So that was pretty cool. You get to the end of this one. What happens at the end of this one, Cody? Do you remember?
She has her big face-off with Nemesis, right? And
yes.
Don't they, like, she's winning, I'm pretty sure, and they come and take Nemesis away, don't they?
Well, they're like, she beats him, and like the doctor's like, finish him off, and she's like, no. And then Nemesis, like, because he's impaled on this shrapnel, and so he like pulls himself off of it, and the guy orders Nemesis to kill Alice, and then like you can see like his eyes, and he's like remembering who he was, and he rebels against it, and he's like, no, I'm not gonna kill her. So that doctor ends up dead. I don't recall what happens to Nemesis. I don't know if he gets killed or if he just goes off somewhere. But Alice and her posse, like Jill Valentine and everybody, they go off in a helicopter. And just as they're leaving, the nuclear missile comes and hits Raccoon City, big explosion, and then the helicopter crashes. And so then, like, you see, it's like sometime later or something, and like everybody's gone, and Umbrella minions come to the crash site, and they find Alice's body. And I mean, she looks very much dead. Okay. And they take her body back with her, and then you see like I don't know, I guess like a Bacta tank from Star Wars where she's just like in the water. And so there's an Alice there, which we assume is as a clone. This is where like the cloned Alices start, and so they bring her out, and she's like stuttering and like trying to stand up and like figure stuff out, and she doesn't like remember. But then as stuff is going on, she remembers who she is, and so she like attacks everybody, breaks out of the facility, and like Jill and the other people she was with somehow have stolen an Umbrella SUV and are like, yeah, we're here to pick her up. And so they escape, and the guy's like, let her go. Project Alice is activated. And so it's just like another thing where like, okay, they're keeping an eye on Alice and letting her out in the world to just see what happens. Because like Umbrella does like just constantly doing all these experiments, right? So then the third movie, it opens, which I love how they do this. So the third movie opens almost the exact same way as the first one, well, part of the first one, where Alice wakes up in the shower, because in the first movie, like, once the nerve gas hit, she fell in the shower, and so she wakes up and she doesn't remember. So this one, same thing, she wakes up, she goes out, she's fighting in these hallways, she ends up getting killed, okay? And then, like, guards come and take her body and dump her in this big ditch where there's just, like, dozens of Alice bodies. And so it's obvious that they've got her clones, and they're just trying different stuff out with her. And so it's just this real remote location in the desert, and then the movie proper starts, and like, this one used to be one of my favorite movies, but then like the last time I watched it, I was like, I don't like this one as much anymore. It's kind of boring. I feel like there's a lot of parts where Alice is just like riding around on her motorcycle by herself, doing some stuff. But this is where she more fully gets control of now her, not only super strength, but like her telekinetic powers as well. So like there's a scene where there's just like a huge flock of like crows that are also zombie crows, and she just like sets them on fire with her mind, because that's something she can do now. Yeah.
I don't remember this at all. Okay.
Yeah.
When people said the Resident Evil movies get weirder and weirder after each one, they weren't joking.
No,
okay.
no, they're not. No. So they just...
What number are we on in the Resident Evil movies?
6.
I think 7, right?
No, 6.
6.
And that was the final chapter, which most...
Okay, I remember this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
what are your like overall thoughts on these movies? Like, do you like them, or...
Well... Yes. No, yes, I like them. I said 3, I'm like, meh. But then, like, in my watch through, I did 1 and 2, and then I didn't want to watch 3 again because I was like, whatever. And then I watched 4 again, and I'm like, God, you know what? I know it's not a good movie. I mean, I can clearly see, like, all this stuff. I'm like, this is not good, but I love it. And I think 4 is, like, my favorite of the movies right now, just because it's, like, so much fun to watch. It really goes all in on the action. It starts with like a sequence where there's just like an army of Alice clones attacking an Umbrella facility, and then it's got Claire Redfield in it, which is played by Ali Larder. She was in the third movie also. She's got some amnesia because she had one of those spider medallion things stuck to her chest.
Hey, we know about those.
Oh yeah, we know about those. There's a prison where like people are holed up, like just trying to survive, and that like gives me a real Dawn of the Dead kind of vibe, just from people trapped somewhere. And then it has, my favorite guy is the executioner who we fought at kind of towards the beginning of the Resident Evil 5 game. Yeah. He's got that huge like hammer, not sickle, but just like axe hammer. And he's got the burlap over his head, and like nails in his face. So he's in this movie, and like he like breaks into the prison, and there's this really awesome fight in the prison showers.
I've seen this part. Okay.
Yeah, and so like he's hitting pipes, and so there's water going everywhere, and Alice gets like knocked in a wall and like is knocked out for a little bit, and like Claire Redfield gets to be a badass, and you're like, yeah, and so like she takes this guy down, and like he falls down, and you're like, yeah, that was awesome. Claire gets to save the day, and then the guy gets back up, and of course like Alice has to like get back up too, and then she has to finish him off. Which there was this really, right there at the end, there was this scene where it could have been like Claire and Alice both like have guns and pull triggers at the same time, and they could have done it together, but they didn't do that. Claire didn't have her gun anymore. It was just Alice, because Alice is the hero, so she had to save the day. But yeah, I was a little disappointed with that. But also in this one, like you see her shotgun is packed with quarters, because like I guess she ran out of bullets, you use quarters. And so what I loved about this scene is, so like she kills the guy, and then you just see like all these quarters falling on the ground, and it's so like a video game, because like you kill the enemy and then you go pick up your money that they dropped. So I was like, this is fantastic.
Can we go back to the first movie real quick?
Yes.
Because you talking about showers, for some reason reminded me of this. So when Alice wakes up, I don't remember, what is the actress's name who plays Alice?
Mila Jovovich.
Mila Jovovich. Was not expecting to see some boob.
Yeah.
So like she's like stands up and is just like wrapping this towel around herself and like turns, and I'm like, that's fucking nipple. What is happening?
Yeah, you see that like also, a few times through the series. Like they're real, whatever with
they
her
really
boobs.
Just like the.
Yeah.
Isn't she married to the director or something like that?
Yeah. Paul W.S.
So he's probably like, yeah, you do that. Sorry, I'm derailing this entire thing to go back to the first movie.
That's fine.
But for wardrobe choice, the red half dress Alice decides to wear.
Mm-hmm.
You just woke up and you're like, this red half dress seems amazing right now to wear.
It was like the only thing that was set out for her. I mean, she was like, well, I guess I'm supposed to wear it. I don't know.
I don't know. I think I would have put different clothes on personally. Okay. Or like rip that skirt thing and just wear it like a normal. Okay.
To be fair, in the video games, Ada Wong is known for wearing like a red half dress like that. So maybe that was why they made that. Although I don't know when Ada Wong made her first appearance. I don't know if she was out by the time. I don't think she was, because I know she was in Resident Evil 4, which was 2005, but I don't know if she was before
this
that. This came out in 2000. Oh wait, this came out in 2002. So who knows? Who knows? Maybe Alice's dress was the inspiration for Ada in the game. I don't know.
So end of Resident Evil 4 is what you were talking about.
Okay, so they end up on this ship, this freighter, where Umbrella has like conned people and been like, hey, it's safe here, and then they like get them to do biological experiments, of course. And Wesker is here, okay, our favorite Wesker, which she fought him earlier, and he's just like, he's infected and you just can't kill him. He survived a plane crash, whatever. But there's this cool scene. Oh, what?
Doesn't the laser wall come back into play and Wesker is there in one of the later movies? Or the laser wall comes back, doesn't it? And Alice does like some flips. Yeah,
like multiple times. Like I believe in Resident Evil 3 when the clones were doing it. Yeah.
They just really love the laser wall effect.
Oh my god. Wait till I get to the 5th movie, okay? But yeah, no, it's definitely been back. But okay, I forgot to mention in 4, Chris Redfield makes his appearance. He's reunited with his sister. Great, you know. So towards the end of the 4th movie, there's this scene where they're kind of fighting against Wesker, but the fight really hasn't started yet. And Wesker does the thing where he takes off his sunglasses, because he always has his sunglasses, and he throws them, and Chris catches them, and then like Wesker uses it as a distraction to come over there and kick his ass. And that's exactly what happened in the Resident Evil 5 game, because we were playing it, and I was like, why did he just throw his glasses? That was so stupid. But they had it in the movie too, so I was like, that's really cool. I appreciate that. So then they defeat Wesker. Like, there's this scene where she shot him in the head and he has just this gaping hole, and you can see, like, there's no brain in his head anymore. It's just all been, like, blown out. She's like, all right, yeah, took care of it. We're good. Turns out, no. He's fine. He, like, gets in a plane, flies off, but they've put a bomb on that plane, so it explodes again. But, you know, Wesker, you can't kill him. I don't know. But anyway, so they think that they're all safe and happy, and they're like, great. And they're all like, they free all the people, and they're standing on this big freighter being just like happy, you know, hey, great. And then all these umbrella helicopters start flying in from the horizon, and they're like, uh-oh. And you go into the helicopter and you see this blonde woman with a spider, medallion on her chest. And she's like, guys, blah, 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 prepare for the fight of your lives, and they're going to go attack, and that's the end of the movie. And so the first time I saw that, I'm like, who's this lady? Like, am I supposed to know who she is? And I had to watch the credits, and it turns out that's Jill Valentine. And apparently, in the second movie, she had short black hair. And now in this instance, she has long blonde hair, and because of like this pendant and the way they wanted to show it, like she has a really low cut shirt. And so like something about like the way this is, it makes her neck look really long. And there's just something completely unrecognizable about her. Like, I could look at pictures of them side by side, and I'm like, no, that's not the same lady. I do not understand how that's the same lady. But I mean, it's definitely the same actress. It's Sienna Guillory who plays her. But like, yeah, it's like, now, like, all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, I understand the Clark Kent glasses disguise now. Because, like, if this hair color change can do, like, this much, I'm like, okay, it's fine. Okay. So then Resident Evil 5 picks up right where we left off at the battle on the boat, okay? And pretty much Alice gets blown off the boat. She gets captured. She wakes up in this facility. And what's the focus of this one, what I think they thought about when they were making this one was like, what if we did one of those like Elseworlds stories where we could just like bring all your favorite actors like back from the dead and just like do weird stuff, and like everything that was cool in the old movies, let's just like bring it back and like do it again, but like in a different way. And I think that's what their goal was, because this whole thing is pretty much in an umbrella facility where they did testing. And so they have these like huge, like it'll be like a whole neighborhood that's built, and it's just like a staging area to like test out what happens when you let zombies loose or something. And technically it was to give demonstrations to different countries in order to sell them bioweapons, right? But anyway, so Alice is captured in here. Jill Valentine with her medallion is in charge, and she kind of like gets broken out, and she meets Ada Wong, who Ada Wong has come in to save her. Turns out she's working with Wesker, and Wesker is trying to free Alice because like she's humanity's last hope. Things have gone bad, and like he's like, sorry, let's be friends now. It'll be fine. Let's get you out of this facility and you can come save the day, right? So the real cool thing is Wesker sent some other backup for help, and it includes one Leon Kennedy, who, like I said earlier, in the second movie, sounded like he was dead, but hey, doesn't matter, it's fine. So he comes, and he's joined by Barry Burton, who was in the first Resident Evil game, but this is his first appearance in the cinematic universe. And then there's one of the guys from the fourth movie, but it doesn't matter. So you go into these simulations, and like one of them, Alice wakes up and she's got like long hair, and she's like a housewife, and she's married to one of the guys who died in a previous movie, and like they've got this daughter who's deaf named Becky, and like zombies attack, and she's like, Becky, go hide in the closet. Actually, they're running for a while. They run into Michelle Rodriguez, who this time she's just like a neighborhood lady, and she's like a social activist and stuff, and like loves the earth. And so you get to see her for a little bit. That Alice ends up dying. It's fine. There's stuff. You run into Michelle Rodriguez again later when she's like an assault commando again. And then you run into her one more time because she's like the neighborhood lady who actually survived that first zombie outbreak, and she's like, what's going on? And so it's just like, they just were like, what can we do to like bring back people who've been dead? Let's just, okay, clones. That's it. It's just clones. Let's clone everybody. It'll be fine. It'll be a good time. So like they just went crazy with this one and had a lot of fun. It's really not a great movie. But it's still fun. I like all of them. This one ends. Oh, there's this really gross scene where at the end, they're fighting the assault commando, Michelle Rodriguez, and she infects herself with Las Plagas virus, which is the virus from Resident Evil 4 game. And so she doesn't mutate, she just becomes like unstoppable. And so like they shoot her a bunch of times, and then like you see the bullets traveling through her, and then like they just like poop out her fingers, and I'm just like, oh my god, that's so disgusting. Like I don't even know. But anyway, so there's some pretty cool fights, and then Alice has to fight Jill Valentine and like gets the spider off of her chest and like saves her or whatever. So then they go to see Wesker, and it's like they're at the White House, and it's just like total devastation, like completely war, surrounded by zombies. And like you pan out and you see those like flying insect ones. Remember like where we'd shoot the people and those things would pop out that we hated? So those things are there. And I remember the first time I saw those in the trailer, I got really excited because I thought they were dragons. And I was like, what are they doing? They're bringing dragons into Resident Evil? But no, it's just those insect things, but that's still cool. But yeah, it just kind of ends there. You don't really see what happens. And then, like, I had no recollection of what happened in the 6th movie, the final chapter. So I looked it up. Basically, somehow, like, Wesker betrays Alice again. The Red Queen...
Shocking.
I know, shocking, right? The Red Queen AI somehow contacts Alice and is like, hey, you know what? There's an antidote. There's an airborne antidote. If you like come here and get it and release it, like you can save the world, but like if you don't do it in 48 hours, like it's past the point of no return and like everyone's gonna die. So good luck with that. And so I guess that movie is just her going to get it. But here's where it gets tricky, right? Because we said in Resident Evil 2 that Dr. Ashford and his daughter Angela were the reason that the virus was made, right? So in this last one, there's actually a Dr. Marcus and his daughter Alicia. And Alicia had a problem where she would have like rapid aging. And so the virus was made to help keep that in check. But I don't know. Somebody killed Dr. Marcus. They took the virus. Alicia is like technically one of the board members of Umbrella. And like all the board members of Umbrella have been cryo-frozen in this facility where also the antidote is. I don't know, it's weird stuff. But what you find out eventually, spoiler alert, I guess, do you care? Do you want to know what happens?
Nah,
it's fine.
I'm good.
Fine. It's fine. Because none of it makes sense anyway. So you eventually find out that Alice, all along, has been a clone of this Alicia that was the daughter of Dr. Marcus. And so, like, I think Alicia is actually old by this time because something's happened, but she ends up helping Alice, and they, I guess, defeat Wesker and get the antidote and start the process to save the world. And like that's why it's the final chapter. It's like it's done now. They've done it all. But I don't know. I feel like it's a real good ending point for that part of the series. But as of last year, Cody, there have been rumors that there's going to be a reboot.
I was gonna say, I feel like I've heard some things about them doing a reboot. That was something, you know. I didn't know all that. I remember I've seen a couple of them. I've seen parts of a couple. So if they do a reboot, do you hope they go more video game-esque, where like it's just focusing on like Leon Kennedy being a cop and like he stumbles upon, say, Umbrella Corps and they're doing experiments, and then he's got to fight some zombies.
Here's what my hope / prediction on this is, because I feel like the game started going kind of wonky, kind of wobbly. That 6 was just like, whoa, what's happening? And you didn't know it was, And then Resident Evil 7 came out and was like, hey, no, we're cool. We're going in a kind of new direction, but we've got this and we're going to do something really good. So I feel like now that the movies have gone all wonky and crazy, they're ready to like pull back and be like, all right, let's focus. We're going to do something a little different, but it's going to be real good. And so what I think is going to happen is I think Alice is gone. Like, obviously Mila Jovovich is, getting older. She's not going to be doing these movies forever. It's time for something new. And I feel like Rebecca Chambers was in Bravo team, one of the first ones to go. I don't even know if she made it to the mansion at first. She showed up in the first game, I think, but she's never been in the theatrical versions. So I feel like she could be a new character that they could bring in, and she could be the lead and just go back to the very beginning and focus on that initial outbreak and really have them be just in this mansion and like be more of the slow horror, less action, not like superhero, superpowered action, just literally, like you said, like a cop just dealing with this and like, slow zombies again, and more of that building the suspense and building the atmosphere and making it more of a true horror movie again. So I feel like that's a way that they could go and have it be something pretty cool. But I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they should kind of take a step back and go more horror, less action.
Yeah.
Because like, granted, Resident Evil 5 was very actiony, but Resident Evil 7, like you said, is a different. Like, it's more horror and suspense, and I could kind of see if they just want to take the plot of Resident Evil 7 and make that into a movie.
Yeah.
It probably would work really well. It's almost like a Texas Chainsaw meets like Dawn of the Dead in a way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I can see that working pretty well. Yeah.
I like it. I don't know. And I mean, obviously we've got next January, the Resident Evil 2 remake is coming out. I think it's January 25th, unless I'm just like being overly optimistic. And it's February. But I think it's January.
No, I think you're right.
At least January.
Or is it? Yeah, it's January 25th because it's really close to February, whatever, when Anthem comes out.
Yeah.
So after Resident Evil 2, what are your hopes for Resident Evil 8? Do you think they continue any of the storylines picked up in 7, or do they go back to some old characters? What do you think? What do you want, Sam? You're the Resident Evil fan here.
I mean, okay. If they make a Resident Evil 8, I would kind of like for them to do like alternating things. So like they did Resident Evil 2 remake and then a new Resident Evil 8. And then they could do another remake and then do another new one. Because I eventually want to get that Resident Evil 4 remake. Like, that's my number one priority. But if they're making like a whole new game, I really like what they did with 7. Like having the slower and like just the dark tone. I mean, I liked having the first person. Like, I've always loved the third person action of the games, but the first person worked there, and it really just that change alone helps to make it more scary, I think. So if they keep with that, I feel like between games, like a lot of times they will just like switch characters, and like it won't necessarily be the same characters from the previous game. It's like, they've told kind of a concise story there, so let's like go ahead and like be like, if it's like a different, like a vignette, like there are all these different outbreaks that have occurred throughout the world, and so we're just like maybe exploring something new. Like I was totally okay with like Ethan being a new character, so if we have another new character in like a different location dealing with like a different weird outbreak, like I'd be cool with that. I mean, I think I think that would be a fun direction to go, and just let the remakes be focusing on, the characters we know and just redoing that kind of thing, and then just letting the new ones go in a totally new direction. I'd be good with that, but I don't know.
All right.
Do you have any final thoughts on Resident Evil?
I I think it's a really good series. I'd like to dive more deep into it. I'd like to finish 7, play 2, and then see what comes next. But yeah, Resident Evil, pretty good series. Pretty good for the horror genre, I feel.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Just piece of advice: always shoot him in the head.
Or at least the knee, so then you can walk up and do a backflip kick.
That's really good advice because that saves your ammo too.
Exactly.
I mean, you're a Resident Evil pro now. You know all the tricks. So.
I mean, that doesn't work in Resident Evil 7, which I'm kind of sad about because I got so used to running up and just doing a backflip kick.
Yeah, I mean, Ethan does not have like the acrobatic skills that
He would go for the kick and get halfway and just fall backwards, like.
Because I feel like he has like dress shoes on, so he'd get caught in some goo
Exactly.
and just like flip and fall on his back.
Prep for zombie survival in there.
It's really not. And I mean, poor guy, he's had his hand cut off already, so he's just having a rough time. But he's doing his best. So. Yeah. Oh my god, I almost forgot the most important thing. Okay, Cody, last night I was trying to I was trying to find some fun trivia. I was like, maybe we can do some Resident Evil trivia, but like all of it was really specific and also like really hard and obscure, and I'm like, this is not fun trivia. But there is one piece of trivia that you might know that I found interesting. Okay, so here in America we call it Resident Evil. In Japan it had a different name for the game, and I'm not asking for like a Japanese name. I'm asking for the American translation for what the name was in Japan. But do you have any idea what Resident Evil is called in Japan?
Doesn't it have something to do with Biohazard? Because Resident Evil 7 is called Biohazard because it's Biohazard 7 or something in Japan?
Good job. You're spot on. It was called Biohazard. And apparently when it was coming to America, there were like already a few games called Biohazard, so they're like, we can't deal with this and like have it, we can't name it that. So they were trying to figure out what to call it, and they had like a competition within the company for people to submit their ideas to pick a name for the game, and someone submitted Resident Evil, and that's the one that got chosen. So that's how we ended up with that name.
Okay.
Fun fact. I thought it was fun.
Pretty cool. That's pretty cool, yeah.
Okay, but that's not why I was excited. I was excited because while I was doing that, I was like, ooh, quizzes. I love quizzes. And so I found some quizzes to say, what Resident Evil character are you? And I took 3 different ones, Cody, before I found like a nice easy one to share with you. All 3 times, 3 different sites, 3 different quizzes, I got the same result, which I found odd. I was Jill Valentine. So,
oh, nice.
Well, yeah, like I think that's really cool, but like I don't feel like I'm a Jill Valentine because like she seems pretty badass, and like hold on, I wrote down some of the stuff it said about her. You're determined, loyal, and no matter what is thrown your way, you always keep a cool head. I think I freak out sometimes. You're also a sharpshooter whose ability to think quickly has gotten you out of many stressful situations. And I mean, you know my aim. You know that is not at all accurate, so I don't know where that's coming from. But, and then one of them said, you have your friends' interests at heart. So I'm like, nah, okay. But hey, I'll never complain about being compared to a Jill Valentine, so. Cody, tell me who you got.
I got Billy Cohen, and I feel like the only reason after you described the video games is because it asked me my favorite location, and I picked a train because I've never been on a train, and I was like, trains seem cool. And then you said Resident Evil 0 all takes place on a train, so I figured they were like, you're Billy Cohen.
Well, I feel like that's a shitty way to do a quiz if that's really what it was. But let me tell you about Billy Cohen, okay? So in Resident Evil 0, like I said, you're playing as Rebecca Chambers, the cop who got separated from her team, whatever. So Billy Cohen is this escaped convict that is loose around here. I believe he was arrested for slaughtering 23 people. So, I mean, in video game world, I mean, that sounds like you kill a lot of people in video games.
I mean, I'm just good at it, that's all.
But I didn't... No, yeah. I didn't play the whole thing. I didn't read fully up on Billy Cohen, but I feel like he was like falsely accused. I feel like there were special circumstances because like what I've seen so far, he seems like a pretty good guy. He helps Rebecca out. He's the person that you team up with, and so you play as both Rebecca and Billy, and they're like co-op helping each other out, trying to survive this zombie threat. So I mean, I feel like he's a misunderstood guy who's got a bum rap, but he's really a good guy and he's taking care of business. So I feel like that's a good one. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
I'm down for it.
Cool. All right. I think that's going to wrap it up. Do you think there's anything else? I mean, I think we've gone on long enough about Resident Evil.
I think we got the people a nice meaty episode, and we missed last week, so we definitely
So.
made up for that.
Yeah. All right, quick reminders. So Friday, October 19th, we have our community game night with Dead by Daylight. So we'll be live streaming that. And of course, if you have the game, let us know if you want to come in and play with us. Cody will kill you. I mean, that's what he does. I probably will not because I'm not a very good murderer, but I'll give it a try. And then be on the lookout for our extra live streams coming at the very beginning of November. We are the podcast posse, and you can learn more about that at geekheartgames.com/extralife. All right. If you want to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, we're at Geek Heart Games. The Twitch channel where we'll be streaming is twitch.tv/geekheartgames. We've got our video series over at geekheartgames.com/YouTube. And we just posted our last episode of the Resident Evil 5 playthrough. That was a meaty episode as well, because we just crammed it all in there at the end. The final chapter, we're like, we're just going to get through this. It's fine. We're taking a break this week, and then hopefully the week after that, we will be back with a new Two Guardians season. So looking real forward to that. We've been having a good time so far. Oh yes, if you want to chat with us on Discord, we're at geekheartgames.com/discord. If you want to buy a shirt, you can go to geekheartgames.com/shirts. I am on Twitter at SKSUVAK. Cody?
I'm at Comic Book Cody.
All right. Once again, I don't know, something wise about shooting zombies. I was gonna try to say something pithy and cool.
Keep residing those evils.
There you go. That's it. All right, Cody, take it away.
We're just two geeks who like shooting zombies. Do 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 do. Yeah.
This is a good one.
Nice.
I mean, you could have done finger guns with me, but that's fine. It was good.
Sorry. All right. Oh, let me tell you something, Mean Gene. We're gonna bring you a nice podcast next week. We're talking all about the video games, because we're the cream of the crop. The cream always rises to the top. Oh yeah, dig it.